History often focuses on the moment of arrival. The aircraft overhead, the parachute opening, the descent into darkness. But in covert warfare, the most dangerous moment comes after boots touch the ground, after the parachute is cut away, after the silence settles. In that moment, a man is alone, exposed and immobile. During World War II, Britain learned this the hard way. Getting agents behind enemy lines was possible. Keeping them alive long enough to move was not. So Britain made a decision that would never appear in headlines. They didn't drop more weapons, they didn't drop more men. They dropped movement. This is the story of the Welbike, a machine designed not to fight, but to disappear. By the early 1940s, Britain had mastered insertion. Parachute drops, glider landings, night insertions deep into occupied Europe. But insertion was only half the mission. Once on the ground, agents faced a brutal reality. They were slow, they carried equipment, they stood out. Foot travel meant hours of exposure. Vehicles were noisy and impossible to obtain. Roads were watched. The problem was simple and deadly. How do you move quickly without being seen or heard? The Special Operations Executive didn't think like an army. They thought like problem solvers. Every tool was judged by speed, silence, disposability. If something worked once, it was worth building. If it failed, it was abandoned. This mindset led to unconventional solutions. Folding weapons, concealed radios, disguised equipment, and eventually, a vehicle that could fall from the sky. The solution did not come from traditional military design. It came from a question. What if mobility itself could be delivered? What if an agent could land, assemble, and move before anyone realized he had arrived? The answer became the Welbike, a folding motorcycle stripped to essentials. No comfort, no luxury, no longevity, only purpose. The Welbike was not built to impress. It was built to avoid attention. No headlights, minimal profile, muted sound. Every unnecessary element was removed. The engine was small. The frame folded tightly. The entire machine fit inside a metal drop container. Once on the ground, an agent could open the container, assemble the bike, move immediately. It was never meant to be fast. It was meant to be fast enough. Welbikes were delivered the same way agents were, by air. The container landed separately. The agent found it in the dark. Assembly was quick, but not easy. Nothing about this process was comfortable, but comfort was never the goal. The Welbike existed for a single window of time, the vulnerable minutes after landing. Once that window closed, the bike had done its job. The Welbike was not meant to be recovered. If it broke, it was abandoned. If it drew attention, it was left behind. It had no emotional value. That made it powerful. Unlike traditional equipment, it carried no expectation of return. It was a tool of transition from exposed to mobile, from visible to gone. The Welbike had flaws. It was difficult to start. It struggled on rough terrain. It required practice, but in covert warfare, perfection is not required. Relevance is, and for a brief, critical moment, the Welbike was exactly what Britain needed. The Welbike never became famous. There were no victory parades, no dramatic photographs, no heroic myths. After the war, it faded quietly into obscurity, but its influence remained. Modern special operations still think the same way. How to move unseen, how to reduce exposure, how to disappear quickly. The Welbike wasn't a weapon. It was a principle. History remembers battles, but covert wars are shaped by moments no one notices. A landing in darkness, a container opening silently, a machine moving away before dawn. The Welbike represented a shift in thinking, that sometimes survival isn't about fighting, it's about leaving. Britain didn't just silence weapons, it silenced movement. And in doing so, it gave its agents something priceless: time. This is Hidden Weapons of History, where the most important tools weren't designed to destroy, but to vanish. This story is only one piece of a much larger hidden history. A history of tools built for moments that were never meant to be recorded. If this documentary changed how you see warfare, consider subscribing to Hidden Weapons of History. More stories are waiting, and they are quieter than you expect.